Hi there, I'm Lavanna Faye and welcome to Dragon Age Origins Episode 2. Okay, let's have a talk with everybody in this camp. Starting with you, Ferelden.
Is the Keeper sending you back to that cave to look for Tamlin?
Of course. I'm the only one who knows where it is. It shouldn't take Meryl and I long to get there.
I want to go with you. Keeper Marathari probably won't approve, but I can help find Tamlin.
I'm only supposed to take Meryl with me, Lethaline. I don't want to risk losing you too.
Tamlin's my friend too. I want to help find him. If Meryl can risk it, so can I.
You're right. It's your risk to take. The more people we have to find Tamlin, the better.
Good. I'll follow you. Just to make sure Meryl doesn't go running to the Keeper when you tell her I'm coming.
Okay. We now have another party member. Alright, so there's a lot of ambient conversations around here. They're all going to be repeated, but I still want to talk to everyone just in case.
Is Tamlin dead? Everybody says he's not coming back.
It's possible, kid. It is possible.
I'm glad you survived. Losing 2 of our young would be a great blow to the clan.
It would. Although hopefully it's more about me than just the clan losing a kid or 2. Small scroll. Okay, City Elves. The City Elves. It's hard to tell our children about those of our people who have decided to live in the Shemland cities. They ask, why would anyone want to be treated like that? And sometimes I do not know what to say. I don't understand it myself. They were freed, but they've returned to live in the service of their former masters. They are housed like animals in walled sections of the Shemland cities. They do the meanest of tasks and are rewarded with nothing. Why? I don't know. We tell the children that the Elven are strong, that we are a proud people, but they hear of these city elves who choose to toil under the humans' heavy hand. How do we teach them pride when they know there are others who would allow themselves to be trampled into the dust? So we tell them that these city elves are to be pitied, that they have given up on their people, given up their heritage. We tell them that some people are so used to being controlled that, when freed, they know not what to do with themselves. They are weak and afraid of the unfamiliar, afraid of our life of wandering. Above all, they're afraid even to hope that one day we may have a home of our own. Gisharel, keeper of the Raelafarin clan of the Dalish Elves. This guy... Damn. Why does nobody else have these stories? Why is it all him? I assume it's a him. Hunter, speak to me.
It's good to see you healthy. We feared you would perish.
Well, I'm made of sterner stuff than that. Okay, it's the storyteller guy. This is the guy who wants me to give this story. Let's talk to him.
So you have returned to us, Dalen. We are grateful you are whole and well.
Anathara Haran. Irabelas. Tamlin is not with me.
So you should be. What were you two thinking, wandering into that cave without first coming to tell the Keeper?
It was just a cave, Haran. We just wanted to see if there was anything in there worth telling the Keeper about.
Once you saw what was inside, you should have returned. But you kept exploring, didn't you?
I suppose your youth can be forgiven. Sadly, Tamlin pays the price.
Losing you would be a terrible crime, Dalen. You belong to more than just yourself, or do you not remember?
Mahnovenin, Haran. I'll do better next time.
Would you even know the reason behind your efforts? I wonder. Let us tell these children of the fall of the Dales. You can honor me by sharing in the telling.
Imathadra, Haran. I think I'd enjoy that.
Come then. Help me as I go along. Children, hear of the fall of the Dales. Hear the tale of what makes you Dalish. Would you care to begin, Dalen?
A long time ago, our ancestors were slaves to the humans.
Yes, slaves to a terrible empire the humans built on the darkest magic. When it fell, we became free. We built a homeland in the Dales, worshipping the creators, and rebuilding the culture and history we lost in our long years of slavery.
We simply wanted peace and to be left alone. But the humans wouldn't let us be.
They were resentful, because we would not worship their gods, and because we put our people first. Over the years, their nations grew cold toward the Dales. In their eyes, we were blasphemers and cruel tyrants.
And then they struck. They declared war on the Dales.
And so the Dales fell. They took our lands and dispersed our people, forcing us to live in their cities and abandon our gods. But many of us refused to relinquish our ways. We instead chose to scatter to the winds, wandering the lands.
We chose to remain free and away from everyone else. We present a moving target, so they couldn't do what they did in the Dales, and wipe us out all at once.
To survive and preserve our culture, the clans stay apart, until the day the Elvenan have a homeland once more.
And there we'll return the old ways to those who've lost them.
We are the Dalish, keepers of the lost lore, walkers of the lonely path.
We are the last Elvenan. Never again shall we submit.
Thank you for your forbearance, Dalen. You remember both the tale and the Oath of the Dales perfectly. I will let you get back to your tasks. I pray you find Tamlin quickly.
Before I go, Harren, did elves ever live in caves?
I've never heard of such a thing. But in the days of ancient Arlathan, we lived free and spread far across the continent. We were as varied as the Shemlin, though fewer in number. Perhaps some of us lived in caves then, but all knowledge from that era is lost.
The Keeper said the Grey Warden who found me thought there might be darkspawn in the cave. Do you know anything about darkspawn?
Only that they eat living flesh, and lurk in underground tunnels, once ruled by the Dergenlen, the dwarves. In the last Blight long ago, the Grey Wardens all but wiped them out. Should they return, all races will shudder.
Then there must be a lot of Grey Wardens then. Do you know anything about this one in particular, though?
The one who brought you back? Very little. He seemed decent enough as humans go. As for Grey Wardens, they're heroes without a doubt. Members of our own clan joined their ranks in ages past.
Members of our own clan? I didn't know that. Could I ask you about other parts of our history?
Now that's something I rarely hear. Of course.
Tell me about Arlathan.
Ah, yes. The Lost City. Before the Shemlen enslaved us, even before they came to this part of the world, our people lived in glorious Arlathan. Legends say that our ancestors were immortal, and we possessed magic the Shemlen could only dream of.
Only legends? Why are there no books? Didn't we write any?
When the humans enslaved us, they took away our language, our history, and our immortality. We quickened to the pace of life and retained nothing of ourselves. We were slaves for so long that even when we became free, there was little for us to recover. If books still exist, I do not know of them.
The Shems hate us. Why haven't they tried to wipe us out?
Perhaps they have no choice. Dalish clans are scattered to the winds and rarely gather, which makes us difficult for any organized effort to destroy. And why bother? We have nothing they want. No land, no treasure. And we always move on, allowing no one to grow too angry with us. Some might see this as cowardly, but we are proud. We are the last, and we will survive.
And the city elves? The ones who didn't join us? What happened to them?
They remain in human cities, forgetting all they once had. We call them Flat Ears, but they differ little from their Shemlen masters. A few may return, but we must accept that they know nothing of the lore, or why we keep it.
I know we just told that story to the children, Harren, but do you think we'll ever find another homeland?
We can hope to find a new home one day, where the Dalish and the Flat Ears will build a land greater even than Arlathan. We shall teach the Flat Ears the lore they lost, and perhaps they will teach us to understand the Shemlen at last. That is the only way we shall truly live in peace.
I understand. Thank you, Harren.
Then I'm sure you have much to do, unless you've other questions.
No, I think I should go now.
Of course. May the gods guide your path, Dalen.
Sweet. Okay, so I saw a book. I saw a book somewhere around here. I can't see it now. Oh, nope. Oh, damn it. Yeah, my keyboard's gone funny again. That's annoying. Okay. Gonna switch keyboard real quick. Okay, there we go. Now, where is this book? There it is. Okay, History of Ferelden Chapter 2. Did we actually get Chapter 1? No, we didn't. Never mind. Chapter 2 is fine. The occupation was a dark blot on Ferelden's history. Our people, who from time immemorial valued their freedom over all else, were forced to bow to Orlesian rule. The Empire declared our elves property and sold them like cattle. Chevaliers routinely plundered freeholds of coin, food, and even women and children, and excused it as taxation. And for 70 years, no landsmeets were held, for the imperial throne had declared our ancient laws a form of treason. King Brandel was one of those who escaped. He tried to organise the other fugitive lords to retake their land, but Brandel was neither clever nor persuasive, and the nobles preferred to take their chances alone. Ferelden might still be a little more than a territory of the Empire were it not for the fact that his daughter had all the charisma that her royal father lacked. The rebel queen's rule began with a midnight attack on the Imperial Armoury at Lothering. It was swift and successful, and with their pilfered arms, the rebels began a campaign against the Orlesians in earnest. But the turning point of the war came when a young freeholder joined the Queen's army. The lad, Logain MacTier, possessed a remarkable talent for strategy and quickly became the favourite advisor of young Prince Marek. The Queen finally died at the hands of Orlesian sympathisers, anxious to curry favour with their painted masters, and Marek took her place as the leader of the rebellion. Logain became Marek's right hand. Marek and Logain led the rebels in a new campaign against the Orlesian oppressors, culminating in the Battle of River Dane, where the last chevaliers in Denerim were crushed. With the capital once more in the hands of Fereldens, the battle to free our people was finally over. But the battle to rebuild what had been lost had only just begun. From Ferelden, Folklore and History by Sister Petrine, Chantry Scholar. All of these codex entries seem to be from the same people. I guess they're just the respected ones. Okay, let's go for that large wooden crate.
As you wish.
Oh, a Damazu. The chest, that's locked. That doesn't mean anything to lock bash. Okay, Dalish gloves, rough. It's fine. Yep, it's done. It's done.
Let's see.
Not possible to pick that one. Ooh, scroll. Alathan, part 1. Okay. Awesome. Okay. Before the ages were named or numbered, our people were glorious and eternal and never changing. Like the great oak tree, they were constant in their traditions, strong in their roots, and ever reaching for the sky. They felt no need to rush when life was endless. They worshipped their gods for months at a time. Decisions came after decades of debate, and an introduction could last for years. From time to time, our ancestors would drift into centuries-long slumber, but this was not death, for we know they wandered the fade in dreams. In those ages, our people called all the land Elvenan, which in the old language means place of our people. And at the centre of the world stood the great city of Alathan, a place of knowledge and debate, where the best of the ancient elves would go to trade knowledge, greet old friends, and settle disputes that had gone on for millennia. But while our ancestors were caught up in the forever cycle of ages, drifting through life at what we today would consider an intolerable pace, the world outside the lush forests and ancient trees were changing. The humans first arrived from Parvolan to the north. Called Shemlin, or Quicklings by the ancients, the humans were pitiful creatures whose lives blinked by in an instant. When they first met the elves, the humans were brash and warlike, quick to anger and quicker to fight, with no patience for the unhurried pace of elven diplomacy. But the humans brought worse things than war with them. Our ancestors proved susceptible to human diseases, and for the first time in history, elves died of natural causes. What's more, those elves who spent time bartering and negotiating with humans found themselves aging, tainted by the humans' brash and impatient lives. Many believed that the ancient gods had judged them unworthy of their long lives and cast them down among the quicklings. Our ancestors came to look upon humans as parasites, which I understand is similar to the way humans see our people in the cities. The ancient elves immediately moved to close Elvenan off from the humans, for fear that this quickening effect would crumble the civilization. The fall of Alathan, as told by Gisharel, keeper of the Ralaferan clan of the Dalish elves. I wonder who took all these notes. Did he just follow Gisharel around? Maybe he had lots of campfire talks. Splint mail, iron. Okay. Another chest bites the dust. Yes, it's dead. You can let go. Don't need to kill it. Kill. Okay. Oh, the Hala do look gorgeous though. So sweet. Child, elf woman. Let's talk to
Why
both
do
of
we
them.
have to leave again? We're always going somewhere. Why can't I go to the Shem City?
Because you'll never leave.
Thank the creators. We were sure we'd lose you last night.
Oh, you know, they can't keep me down. Let's go around here. Eldest of the Sun. The elven god of vengeance. Okay. Elganan, god of vengeance. Long ago, when time itself was young, the only things in existence were the sun and the land. The sun, curious about the land, bowed his head close to her body, and Elganan was born in the place where they touched. Okay. The sun and the land loved Elganan greatly, for he was beautiful and clever. As a gift to Elganan, the land brought forth great birds and beasts of sky and forest, and all manner of wonderful green things. Elganan loved his mother's gifts, and praised them highly and walked amongst them often. The sun, looking down upon the fruitful land, saw the joy that Elganan took in her works and grew jealous. Out of spite, he shone his face full upon all the creatures the earth had created and burned them all to ashes. The land cracked and split from bitterness and pain and cried salt tears for the loss of all she had wrought. The pool of tears cried for the land became the ocean, and the cracks in her body the first rivers and streams. Nice. Elganan was furious at what his father had done and vowed vengeance. He lifted himself into the sky and wrestled the sun, determined to defeat him. They fought for an eternity, and eventually the sun grew weak, while Elganan's rage was unabated. Eventually, Elganan threw the sun down from the sky and buried him in a deep abyss created by the land's sorrow. With the sun gone, the world was covered in shadow, and all that remained in the sky were the reminders of Elganan's battle with his father, drops of the sun's life-blood which twinkled and shimmered in the darkness. From the tale of Elganan and the sun, as told by Gisharel, keeper of the Ralaferan clan of the Dalish elves. Dear lord. This guy. Okay. Ugh, creation myths. Okay. Elf woman.
I'm glad you survived.
Yep,
Losing
same,
two of our
same.
young would
That
be a great
shaman was
blow
a
to
Grey
the
Warden.
clan.
They are supposed to be great warriors.
Apparently, yeah. Let's get this one. Gillinan. Mother of the Hala. They say Gillinan was one of the people in the days before Alathan and the chosen of Andruel the Huntress. She was very beautiful, with hair of snowy white and as graceful as a gazelle. She kept always to Andruel's ways, and Andruel favoured her above all others. One day while hunting in the forest, Gillinan came across a hunter she did not know. At his feet lay a hawk shot through the heart by an arrow. Gillinan was filled with rage, for the hawk, along with the hare, is an animal much beloved of Andruel. Gillinan demanded that the hunter make an offering to Andruel in exchange for taking the life of one of her creatures. The hunter refused, and Gillinan called upon the goddess to curse him so that he could never again hunt and kill a living creature. Gillinan's curse took hold, and the hunter found he was unable to hunt. His prey would dart out of sight and his arrows would fly astray. His friends and family began to mock him for his impotence. For what use is a hunter who cannot hunt? Ashamed, the hunter swore he would find Gillinan and repay her for what she had done to him. He found Gillinan while she was out on a hunt with her sisters, and lured her away from them with lies and false words. He told Gillinan that he had learned his lesson and begged her to come with him so she could teach him to make a proper offering to Andruil. Moved by his plea, Gillinan followed the hunter, and when they were away from all of her sisters, the hunter turned on Gillinan. He blinded her first and then bound her as one would bind a kill fresh from the hunt. But because he was cursed, the hunter could not kill her. Instead, he left her for dead in the forest. And Gillinan prayed to the gods for help. She prayed to Elganan for vengeance, to Mother Mathal to protect her, but above all she prayed to Andruil. Andruil sent her hares to Gillinan, and they chewed through the ropes that bound her, but Gillinan was still wounded and blind and could not find her way home. So Andruil turned her into a beautiful white deer, the first Halla. And Gillinan found her way back to her sisters and led them to the hunter, who was brought to justice. And since that day the Halla have guided the people, and have never led us astray, for they listened to the voice of Gillinan. From the tale of Gillinan, as told by Gisharel, keeper of the Ralafarin clan of the Dalish Elves. Wow. Okay, Marin.
Anithara, it's good to see you recovered.
Thank you, Marin. How are the Halla faring today?
They fare well. The keeper called for the clan to move on, and they will be ready to take us. One is heavy with calf, but it shouldn't be a problem. May I ask of Tamlin's fate? Some say the clan will leave before we find him.
That's not going to happen, Marin. We're going to find him.
The Halla mourn our fallen. No sound is more heart-wrenching than their mourning cry. At least they won't be crying over you. They are quite fond of you.
As I am of them. They're beautiful creatures.
I admire them for their strength and pride. They are equals, not servants like the Shemlin horses. At any rate, I do not envy the Keeper's decision. I'll pray for Tamlin's safe return.
I suppose that depends on the horsemaster, doesn't it? Some horse people will probably not treat their horses as slaves. They would treat them as family.
Right.
Dalish armor, okay. Dusty scroll, awesome. On the fall of Alathan. Alathan Part 2. You ask what happened to Alathan? Sadly, we do not know. Even those of us who keep the ancient law have no record of what truly happened. What we have are accounts of the days before the fall and a fable of the whims of the gods. The human world was changing even as the elves slept. Clans and tribes gave way to a powerful empire called Tevinter, which, and for what reason we do not know, moved to conquer Elvenan. When they breached the great city of Alathan, our people, fearful of disease and loss of immortality, chose to flee rather than fight. With magic, demons, and even dragons at their behest, the Tevinter Imperium marched easily through Alathan, destroying homes and galleries and amphitheatres that had stood for ages. Our people were corralled as slaves, and human contact quickened their veins until every captured elf turned mortal. The elves called to their ancient gods, but there was no answer. As to why the gods didn't answer, our people left only a legend. They say that Fenharel, the Dread Wolf and Lord of Tricksters, approached the ancient gods of good and evil and proposed a truce. The gods of good would remove themselves to heaven, and the lords of evil would exile themselves to the abyss, neither group ever again to enter the other's lands. But the gods did not know that Fenharel had planned to betray them, and by the time they realised the Dread Wolf's treachery, they were sealed in their respective realms, never again to interact with the mortal world. It is a fable, to be sure, but those elves who travel the beyond claim that Fenharel still roams the world of dreams, keeping watch over the gods lest they escape from their prisons. Whatever the case, Alathan had fallen to the very humans our people had once considered mere pests. It's said that Tevinter Magisters used their great destructive power to force the very ground to swallow Alathan whole, destroying eons of collected knowledge, culture, and art. The whole of elven lore left only to memory. The fall of Alathan as told by Gisharel. Yeah. That guy again. Awesome. Okay. I have a couple of guys. Oh, that one's going to give me a bow, or I can get the option to get a bow. But first, I wanted to talk to this
there.
guy.
I don't think
Or his friend, whichever.
It's good you're well. You weren't here when Paul arrived, were you?
I've heard of you. Everyone is talking about you and the other missing hunter. A Grey Warden brought you back here.
Hello. Yeah, the hunter's name is Tamlin. Who are you?
That obvious, is it? I just found your camp a couple of days ago. A lucky thing. I heard rumors in a nearby human village that a Dalish camp was close, and I hope to find your hunters in the forest.
You were fortunate I didn't shoot you, Paul. I thought you were a Shem, and a bandit at that. You're not the first city elf to rejoin his people. I'm sure you'll find life among us more satisfying than with the Shems, if no less harsh.
In the alienage, we hear terrible stories about the Dalish. They aren't true, right?
Well, I don't know what stories are told in the alienage, but you have nothing to worry about here.
Thank you. The clan has been very kind and welcoming. I never expected it to be like this.
Probably because they tell awful stories. That's terrible.
I'm training Paul. He'll have to learn how to handle that bow quickly.
He certainly will. Okay. Can I actually speak to him again?
It was good to
Yes,
meet
I
you.
can.
Perhaps I'll get to hunt with you someday.
Perhaps you will. You know, I've never seen a Shemlin city. What's it like?
You've never been to a city? Surely you've at least visited a town.
We occasionally trade with the Shemlin in small villages, but only a few in the clan can undertake that task.
I can't imagine never having seen a city. It's crowded, with buildings all squeezed together. There are people everywhere, and it always stinks.
That sounds nice. The elves live with the Shemlin then?
Only if they're servants. Most of us live in a part of the city called an alienage, separated from the humans by walls. That's where all the poorest folk live. Laborers, dockhands, and thieves. And that's if you're lucky.
That sounds terrible. Don't you want to be free?
We don't think about it like that. To most folks, that's just how it is.
From the looks of that target, you didn't learn to shoot a bow in the city. Don't you learn how to fight?
Andraste's mercy, no. No one is allowed to walk around with any weapon. Fighting just gets you arrested. And I've never had to leave the city before. Much less learn how to hunt.
Why did you leave the city?
I got into trouble for stealing. I'm not a thief. We just never really had a choice. Mother was a maid, and I was lucky if I could get work at the docks. You make a living however you can, right? When Mother died, I got drunk and was caught picking a guard's pocket. They were going to hang me, but I escaped and, well, here I am.
Well, worry not, Paul. You'll not have to resort to anything like that anymore. The clan takes care of each other.
I'll do my best to adjust and fit in. I never dreamed you'd be so welcoming. I thought at best you might hide me for a bit. I'm glad I was wrong.
I've heard that the city elves don't worship the creators. Is that true?
Well, back in the city we hear the same about you. Stories about Dalish bandits attacking people for no reason.
We would never resort to banditry.
I'm just saying that's what we hear. And it's elves who say these things too, not humans.
Well, they just don't know the truth.
Even if they did, I honestly don't think most of them would want to leave. Wandering and hunting doesn't sound like much of a life.
At least they would live as free men, and as equals.
Maybe. But to most elves I know, the only difference between them and humans is how much coin they have. Coin is the great equalizer, not living free.
Well, I'm sure you'll be glad to get away from all of that. See you around, Paul.
Of course. I hope to see you again.
Okay. So, at least we now know that we're going to need lots and lots of gold. At least I think that's what that was telling us about. Ooh. Yeah, there is a scroll there, but I can't get it. Darn. Never mind. There's plenty more codexes for me to look at. Oh my gosh. God of the Craft. Okay.
Let's see.
June. We dedicate all our crafts to June, for it is he who taught the people to bend the branches of trees to make our bows, and to fashion coverings of furs and ironbark. Without June, would we have the Aravel or the harnesses for our Hala? When the people were young, we wandered the forests without purpose. We drank from streams and ate the berries and nuts that we could find. We did not hunt, for we had no bows. We wore nothing, for we had no knowledge of spinning or needlecraft. We shivered in the cold nights and went hungry through the winters when all the world was covered in ice and snow. Then Silas, the Hearthkeeper, came and gave us fire and taught us how to feed it with wood. June taught us to fashion bows and arrows and knives so that we could hunt. We learned to cook the flesh of the creatures we hunted over Silas' fire, and we learned to clothe ourselves in their furs and skins, and the people were no longer cold or hungry. As told by Gisharel. Sweet. Okay. We're almost done with the camp. We are almost done. We've just got these guys here, those, and then it's up to Merrill. Okay. Let's talk to you.
Have you fully recovered? I heard the Keeper was confounded, that she had never seen anything like it.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. No idea how it happened.
I'm glad you've recovered. Once we find Tamlin, we can concentrate on the journey northward.
Thank you for the bow, Master Island. It is light and sturdy, much better than the one I made last year.
You are more than welcome. My father made it and used it in battle against the Clane tribes.
I will carry it with honor.
You're giving out bows, Master Island? Could I ask you for one too?
One of my own crafting, perhaps?
Yes, please.
It may not have a history, but you'll provide one for it soon enough, yes?
Thank you, Master Island. You know, I'd like to hear the story of your father's battle.
Then I am proud to tell it. Our clan was one of the first to flee the Dales. When we came to Ferelden, the fiercest of the Shemlin were the barbarians known as the Clane. We didn't wait for them to attack us. Every Dalish clan in Ferelden united to bring the battle to them.
Really? We attacked them first?
They were barbarians without honor. They would have slain us without a second thought. The ensuing battle went well for us. That day we carved out our reputation of being the deadliest archers. Our arrows won us the right to wander these woods at will. It was this very bow that my father used that day.
Thank you for the tale, Master Island, and especially the bow. I will honor its history.
It's undoubtedly an honor, but why would you want to give away such a relic?
We are all the same clan. His hand is as my hand. I have relinquished nothing. It was my father who first spoke of the Vir Tanadal, the three ways of the hunter. The first is the Vir Asan, the way of the arrow, to reach for our goal unrelenting. The second is the Vir Borasan, the way of the bow, to bend but not to break. The last is the Vir Adalen, the way of the wood. We are as ancient as the forests, each tree a part of the greater land. All Dalish are united in this. One day, we shall have a homeland again.
Indeed we shall. Can I see your crafts, Master Allen?
Of course. Take whatever you need.
Okay. So, kind of hoping that you'd have a backpack. Oh well. Never mind. Okay. No recipes or anything like that, although I could get rid of some Dalish leather belts. Yeah, I can't use them because I'm not a warrior or a rogue. So let's just sell them both. That's good. Get rid of one. You see, I always intend to keep some leather armour for Leliana when we eventually get her. And then I always end up selling it once we get to Ostagar. Yeah, I'm just going to sell it. Why not? I have no idea. I have no idea which bow that he just gave me. I'm going to assume that it was Scout's bow. Because it seems to be the best. I think. Oh, is it the longbow? Did he just give me the longbow? Doesn't matter. Let's sell it. Okay, and we will get rid of that regular short bow as well. We'll keep the Scout's bow and the arrow of filth, just because I haven't checked what I actually have in my inventory and I might need to swap it out. Okay, let's take the toxin extracts. I know I need those for traps later on. I can't remember how many toxin extracts I need. Probably need more, actually. Maybe I should clear him out of his ingredients. Okay, awesome. Yeah, so we've got all of his ingredients for crafting. Brilliant. I don't think we'll need the actual traps. I don't have any injury kits though. But I'm going to trust that I'm not going to need it. Because this is... well, it's not easy, it's normal. We're on normal settings, so I shouldn't have too many problems, really. So I'll leave it at that. Okay. Items received, good. And I've had my first merchant. I sure have. Okay. Let's talk to you.
Have you fully recovered?
Can
I heard the
trust
keeper was
this
confounded.
Warden?
That she had never seen
How do we know
anything
he
like
didn't
it.
hurt Tamlin?
How do we know he didn't hurt Tamlin? That's true, we don't know that, actually. Because I was unconscious. But you know what, let's trust the guy. Let's just trust him.
Leave it to me.
I hope this doesn't belong to anyone. Keep going, keep going. We'll get through eventually. There we go. Leather helm. Nice. And actually, no, it's this one, isn't it? Inventory. What bow do I have? Just an elm short bow. Okay, well, let's get that one then. I wouldn't mind some rapid aim. And... huh. Maybe I should have... maybe I should have got some Dalish... a Dalish helm or something, but I've just got the leather helm. Which I can wear. But I have the no helmet hack, so it won't show up on my character.
Why do we have to leave again? We're always going somewhere. Why can't I go to the Shem City?
I don't know why they have this fascination with going to the Shem City.
We feared you would perish.
Are you going to help look for Tamlin? Oh, poor boy. Lost somewhere out there.
Yeah, that is kind of horrifying, really. Considering what happened.
It is so good to see you whole and well. I was so worried.
Anatharia Shell, it's good to see you too.
All that time you were ill, the Keeper didn't know if you were going to live or die. I've been outside the Keeper's tent the whole time. I have never been so relieved as when I heard you would pull through. What happened? Everyone says Tamlin may be dead.
Irabelas. They might be right.
That's awful. He's been a good friend to you since you were fledglings. You must be more careful. Your mother and father, may they rest in peace, would be horrified to see you take such risks.
You always say that, Shell.
It's true. Your mother was... well, let's not talk about that. I'm sure you have plenty on your mind.
No, please, tell me. We may not have another chance.
True. Perhaps you're old enough to hear this, though it hardly seems like the right time.
It's probably never a good time to say things like this.
Very well. If I do not tell you now, you'll only wonder. Your mother was a hunter, one of the finest, and your father was the Keeper before Marathari. He was with us for a very long time. Your mother was from another clan, and her elders did not approve of the match. She and your father had to meet in secret. One day, bandits caught them alone in the forest. Your father was killed, but your mother escaped.
She escaped? I always heard they died together.
Your mother held to life long enough to give birth to you. But grief racked her heart. One night she simply walked into the moonlight and never returned.
She left me? No. She probably went to avenge him. I don't know what to say.
The clan decided not to discuss this around you, lest it poison your heart with sadness.
I understand why you might have thought that, but I didn't even know them, Michelle.
Our people have learned to live with much sorrow. It seemed only right that we not dwell on it. Your mother did leave you a gift, something of your father's for you to have once you were older. Perhaps the
She left me something. That's interesting. What is it?
Take this key. You'll see some chests behind the storage Aravel by the Halapan. One of them was your mother's. Its contents are yours if you wish.
Oh, thank you. Now let's go open that chest. And this is the one that we couldn't break into. I guess Mother invested in some really good locks.
Right.
Hey, okay, heirloom necklace. Spirit resistance. Awesome. And some splint mail gloves. I'm going to assume that was, she was a rogue. I mean, it did say that she was a hunter. Doesn't mean she was a rogue. She could have been a warrior, but splint mail. It's medium armor. Maybe she was a warrior. Okay. Well, that's good to know at least. Okay, and what's that? Just Dalish pendant. Let's go with the heirloom necklace. Just so that I'm wearing something of my mother's. That's lovely. Alright, well, we're almost done with the Dalish camp. I did warn you all, this would be a very long time going through all of this lore. And there is just so much lore. But we just have Merrill up there and then returning to the cave. And I think that'll be what I'll do next episode. So I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, hit the like button. I upload 5 videos a week, so subscribe and you'll be notified when those go live. Hit the bell to update notifications. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.